Okay, so my name is Michael.dragulski, and I'm gonna do an in-text citations PowerPoint presentation for you guys to make it easier to learn how to use it. So pretty much the basics for in-text citations would be that they're the same thing as a parenthetical documentation, and then in-text citations work with the works cited page by leading the readers to specific works on the works cited page. So kind of like you see it and you see the word in the works, an in-text citation says the author's name. That author's name is going to be the first entry for that source on the works cited page on the left-hand margin. In-text citations are also used to cite the source at the exact point in that the borrowed information is used. When to use in-text citations? In-text citations are required for use every time you use borrowed information. So any idea, fact, or quote, paraphrase ideas, anything like that, anything that's not common knowledge, is when you want to use an in-text citation. The format of in-text citations vary along with the source of the author, or the number of authors, whether it's 2 to 3 authors, no author, 4 or more authors, whether there's a page number, and even when you're citing the Bible. It all changes the format of how in-text citations are used. How to cite source with one author. So let's take this first quote, for instance, by Stephen King. I have it so the quote's first, and then it shows King. It's on page 121. So if you look at the actual entry on the works cited page, you notice that King is the first word on the left-hand margin. Now, for this instance, it's the same thing by Stephen King. I'm just using Stephen King in the signal phrase, so when it comes to the in-text citation, it's just going to be the page number, and I no longer need to use King for the actual inside the actual parenthetical documentation. How to cite a source with no author. So with no author, what tends to happen here is you want to abbreviate the title of it. And if it's short work, you're going to abbreviate the title using quotations, right? And if it's long work, you're going to want to italicize or underline the title of the work. So notice how I did here, the impact of global warming in North America. This is in quotations because this is an article. Well, and that's considered short work. While things like long work are plays, books, television shows, internet websites, anything like that. How to cite a source with 2 to 3 authors. There's 2 ways to do this. The first one, just like the source with 1 author, you're going to use the signal phrase. You're going to state both the author's name and the signal phrase, and then in the actual parenthetical documentation at the end of the borrowed information is just going to be the page number, and you're not going to use any of the names. The second way to do this is, for instance, the authors state, Tighter Gun Control United States erodes Second Amendment rights. The authors are Smith, Yang, and Moore on page 76. And that is inside the parenthetical documentation. How to cite sources with 4 or more authors. There's again 2 ways to do this. List all the authors out in the signal phrase before the borrowed information, and then just use the page number that this information was borrowed on. And the second way to do this is inside the actual parenthetical documentation. For instance, here, the first author is Jones. So you would use Jones, ET, period, AL, period, and then 4 would be the page number that this information has been borrowed from. Citing the Bible. When citing the Bible, the first thing you want to do is make sure you address the Bible you're using. Then you want to address the book, chapter, and verse. And you also want to make sure you italicize, as I did here, the New Jerusalem Bible. This is the type of Bible that's being used, so you want to italicize that because that's considered the title. And then the book it's under is Ezekiel, and then the verses, chapter and verses. How to cite with no page number. When citing something with no page number, it's real easy because you just don't put the page number down. You use the last name that for the author. So for instance, here, there's no beauty in the struggle, ugliness in success. There's no page number because it's just a verse, so I will use Cole because he is the author. That was the end of the presentation, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot about in-text citations. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.